Okay, imagine this. You step into a brand new job, maybe a new class, or, even just a party where you don't know anyone. You're constantly scanning, right? Trying to read the room.
Yeah, figuring out the vibe, the unspoken rules, who's who.
Exactly. It takes up so much mental energy, it's exhausting. Now, contrast that with walking into, say, your regular coffee shop or your own office. Somewhere familiar, structured.
Ah, the comfort, the ease.
Right. That's where you can actually relax and, well, engage. Today, on the deep dive, we are plunging into something similar, but in a learning context. The profound impact of what our sources call predictable practices in the classroom. And honestly, this isn't just for teachers. I think these ideas apply almost anywhere learning or even just productivity happens. Team meetings, your own work routine.
Absolutely. For this deep dive, we've been looking at some really insightful material, especially pieces from the Inclusive Classroom Framework, the Teacher's Guide.
Hmm.
And it makes a really compelling case for why creating these consistent, predictable environments isn't just like a nice to have, it's fundamental.
So our mission today is to sort of unpack how this predictability isn't about being boring or rigid. Not at all. It's really about building stability, consistency, familiarity, things that turn a learning space into this incredibly effective engine for growth.
Yeah, freeing up that mental bandwidth.
Exactly. Getting rid of the reading the room energy drain so students can focus on what actually matters. Learning, engaging, getting curious. Okay, let's start right there. Just think about it. How much mental energy do we all spend when things are uncertain, when the rules feel fuzzy, or you're just waiting for the next unexpected twist?
Oh, it's huge. And one of our sources puts it perfectly. It says, providing positive, preventive, and predictable classroom environments allows students to devote less mental energy on reading the room and more time on reading to learn.
Reading the room versus reading to learn. I like that.
It's a great distinction. And it ties into what, people like Daniel Kahneman observed, that basic human tendency where familiarity breeds liking. And other researchers, Fallon and their colleagues, they really hammered this home, saying predictable school and classroom environments are, and I quote, a central consideration to academic and social behavior success.
So when things feel familiar, we don't just put up with them, we actually kind of lean in.
Pretty much. That stability, that predictability, it builds this foundation of psychological safety.
Okay, so once students feel secure, what does that predictability really unlock for them? What happens next?
Well, the benefits are pretty remarkable, according to Ostrowski and others back in 2003. When kids feel safe and know what's coming, they develop cognitive, social, and emotional skills more effectively. They just feel more secure, more comfortable,
All right.
which means they understand expectations better. You see fewer behavioral problems. And crucially, student engagement just goes way up.
Because their brains aren't constantly on high alert trying to figure out the environment.
Exactly. They can actually use their cognitive resources for learning, for diving deep into the subject.
Now, it's probably important to clear something up. We're not talking about, like, a super strict punishment-focused kind of classroom management here, are we?
No, not at all. That's a common misconception. The research, think Wedach and Owen or Jennings and Greenberg, it strongly supports proactive, positive approaches.
Okay.
Now, consequences, they definitely have a place. But the key thing the research highlights is that when they are used, they need to be reasonable and consistent across students and infractions.
Reasonable and consistent.
Mhm.
So clarity, fairness.
Yeah,
That builds trust. It's not just about top-down control.
precisely. It's about building trust and understanding.
And here's the real kicker, the so what for you listening.
Uh,
This kind of consistency, it can be an absolute lifeline, especially for students who might not have a lot of stability outside of school.
Absolutely. For some kids, those hours in the classroom might be the most consistent, predictable part of their day.
The safest part, where they can feel grounded.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's really cool is that the sources don't just stop at the why. They give us a how. A blueprint, almost. We're going to dive into 10 specific, predictable practices that really anyone managing a learning space or even a team could start thinking about.
Yeah, think of these as the concrete, actionable steps. They take that why, that need for stability, and turn it into practical strategies for the classroom.
All right, let's kick things off with number 1. Creating an orderly environment with easy access to frequently used materials. It sounds so basic, right? Like just tidying up. But the physical space itself really sets the stage.
Oh, it's huge. An organized environment, it directly impacts instructional time and efficiency. Research by Kern and Clemens, way back in 2007, showed this clearly. An organized space helps students focus, reduces distractions, and actually enhances their cognitive processes. Simple things, like knowing where the pencils are, means lessons flow better.
And it's not just about smooth flow. Get this statistic from the sources. Upwards of 25% of our instructional time is lost to transitions within the schedule.
25%.
Yeah, that's like a quarter of the school day, potentially just spent shuffling between activities.
Yeah.
Imagine reclaiming that time.
It's staggering when you think about it. What could you do with an extra quarter of the day? More deep dives, more creative work, maybe just more time to process.
Exactly.
And Cara Hume, back in 2007, she really pushed for teachers to actively evaluate how their classroom space is used, to create clear zones, clear separation, and importantly, teach students how to use and maintain those spaces.
Teach them how to maintain it. That's key.
Yes, and this is especially helpful for diverse learners. English language learners, students with autism, kids with ADHD. Clear structure helps everyone. It reminds me of that Marie Kondo quote, clutter is caused by a failure to return things to where they belong. Good organization isn't just about finding things, it's about putting them away easily, too.
And Melanie Unger, in her book, Organized Teacher, Happy Classroom, she lists all these knock-on benefits.
Yeah.
Peace of mind, feeling in control, more energy, saving time, fewer distractions, better productivity, clarity.
It goes on and on.
Right. Better student performance. Even skills transferring beyond the classroom. All from a tidy, organized space.
And it shouldn't just be on the teacher. Involving students in keeping things organized, keeping it clean, that actually deepens their connection to the space, makes their work feel more meaningful. Allen and colleagues found that in 2018.
So success here looks like really evaluating the layout, making a plan, and getting students involved in keeping it running smoothly.
That's the gist of it.
Okay, building right on that idea of physical organization is the flow of the day. Which brings us to practice number 2. Routines, procedures, and transitions are well-defined, consistent, and reviewed. Think about your morning routine. How much of it is just autopilot?
Most of it, probably.
That's the goal here, right? Automate the basics.
Precisely. Routines automate things like, how do you ask to go to the bathroom? Where does homework go? This frees up that precious mental space for the actual learning. He uses procedural memory. As Rawlings Lister and their co-authors put it in 2017, routines provide the environment for learning to take place. They set the stage.
And the evidence backs this up. Watson and DiCarlo found that even simple picture schedules help preschoolers complete tasks more independently.
Yeah.
And the Center on Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, PBIS, which many schools use, they list routines as one of their top 5 essential practices.
And routines are absolutely critical during transitions, those moments moving between activities. Banerjee and Horn identified 6 different behavioral challenges that can pop up if transitions aren't smooth.
Like what?
Things like refusing to stop the old activity, refusing to move, bothering other kids, trying to escape the situation, getting impatient, or just having trouble starting the new thing.
Ah, okay. I can see how those would derail things quickly.
Totally. So defining those routines, teaching them, practicing them, reinforcing them, that prevents a lot of chaos and saves that learning time we talked about. Success means thinking about what needs a routine, maybe getting student ideas, having clear instructions, visual or written, and just consistently practicing and reinforcing.
Which connects perfectly to the next one, number 3. There is a posted schedule with clear expectations. Knowing what's coming and what's expected.
Exactly. Evertson and colleagues did a great job defining these terms back in '03. Norms are sort of the usual ways people interact. Expectations are the desired behaviors. Rules are those expectations written down. And procedures are how you actually do tasks.
Okay.
Posting these clearly helps promote positive behavior and better academic achievement. The PBIS Center found students stay on task more when they know exactly what's expected. And Zhang and others in 2010 found that just posting the schedule reduces uncertainty and gives students a greater sense of control. That's really empowering.
And it's powerful that the American Psychological Association lists setting and communicating high expectations as a top principle for teaching all students. It's not just behavior management, it's about aiming high academically.
Right. And how you state those expectations matters too. Sources like Sprick and Baldwin really emphasize phrasing them positively.
And so instead of don't run,
you say walk in the hallways. Specific, positive, actionable. And consistency from the teacher and how they interact around these expectations reinforces everything.
got it. So success is schedule posted, expectations posted, and they're actively taught and reviewed.
You got it.
Okay, moving to number 4. Learning goals are articulated, posted, and reflected upon. This shifts the focus squarely onto the academic purpose.
Exactly. When learning goals are clear, it boosts student motivation and achievement. We see that in research from Althoff and Himmel, and Buffard and colleagues found way back in '98 that just posting the goals improved performance and self-regulation. It gives students a target, a why for their effort.
Get this, finding this one really stood out to me. Teacher clarity. Just how clear the teacher is about what's being learned accounts for about 13% of the difference in student learning. That's according to Titsworth and colleagues.
13%, that's significant.
Just from being clear.
It really is. It seems straightforward, but the impact is measurable. So the success criteria are pretty simple here. Identify the goal, tell the students what it is, post it, and then, importantly, guide them in reflecting on how they did in relation to that goal.
Okay, number 5. Potential triggers, distractions, and disruptions are minimized. Thinking about the hidden cost of interruptions, it's actually quite shocking when you see the numbers.
It is. There was a 2022 study by Kraft and Novikov, just in one district, but it found interruptions cost elementary kids over 44 hours of instruction a year. Middle schoolers, almost 76 hours. High school, nearly 60 hours.
Wow. That's weeks of learning time lost just to interruptions.
Imagine reclaiming that. And Gershler, back in 2012, usefully categorized things affecting concentration into manageable factors like classroom noise, phones buzzing, and unmanageable ones like kids being hungry or construction noise outside.
Helps to know what you can actually influence.
Right, and you can influence quite a bit. Like, Sana and colleagues found that laptop multitasking, it doesn't just hurt the student doing it, it distracts the kids sitting nearby too, just visually.
Oh, the screen distraction effect.
Yeah. And another study by Harris in 2006 showed that classrooms with fewer distracting decorations and just generally more organized spaces led to less distractedness, especially for students with ADHD.
Makes sense. Less visual clutter.
Exactly. So success here means taking stock of common triggers, teaching everyone, staff and students, ways to handle or ignore them, and teaching ways to avoid creating them. Think about your own workspace. Same principles apply, right?
Totally. Constant email pop-ups, messy desk.
Yeah.
It all adds up. Okay, number 6 flows nicely from this. Activities and movement happen at organized and coordinated times. Kind of reminds me of that stoplight idea some teachers use for managing workflow. Green means go, yellow means quiet work, red means stop and listen.
That's a great analogy for it. Well-structured classrooms where activities are coordinated, they have better engagement and academic performance. Kern and Clemens, Cotting and Smith showed this. And it loops back to that statistic, potentially 25% of time lost to messy transitions.
So an example might be, instead of every kid getting up whenever they need craft supplies.
Right. Maybe they all collect them at the start or in designated small groups. It cuts down on those constant little mini disruptions and the chances to get off task.
Makes sense. Fewer opportunities for chaos.
Yeah. McIntosh and colleagues put it really well. In transitions, we demand a lot from students. We ask them to halt their current routine, perform a long chain of tasks, and initiate a new activity, all without breaking classroom rules.
That's a lot to juggle.
It is. So success means anticipating movement, planning the schedule to maximize learning time, and explicitly teaching students how to manage those transition times effectively. Again, applies beyond the classroom. Think about efficient meetings or project handoffs.
Okay, number 7. Students are made aware of upcoming changes before they happen. Like your GPS giving you a heads up about the next turn, prepping you.
Exactly. The term for this is pre-correction. It's an evidence-based practice highlighted by Ennis and others and shown by DePry and Shugai back in 2002 to really improve transitions and cut down on problem behaviors.
So it's just giving them warning.
Essentially, yeah. Prompting students about what's coming before it happens, helping them mentally shift gears.
And who finds this most helpful? The sources mentioned.
Well, it benefits everyone, really, but it's especially helpful for students on the autism spectrum, those with anxiety, or maybe kids with limited English skills who need that extra processing time.
Yeah.
Giving that advance notice lets them prepare mentally, reduces anxiety, increases the chance they'll go along with the change smoothly. It fosters security and open communication. Radley and Dart wrote about this in 2016. Think about your own day. Isn't it less stressful when you know about a schedule change in advance?
Absolutely. No surprises. So success is spot the change if coming, tell the students clearly, maybe post a reminder.
That's it. Simple but effective.
Number 8. Common attention signals are consistently used. Anyone who's been near a group of kids knows getting everyone's attention quickly can be a challenge.
A major challenge. Attention signals are vital. Marzano and colleagues talked about how they provide these clear, consistent cues to redirect focus. And Wong emphasized how they help create a respectful, efficient environment. Plus, get this, research by Kane and others suggests the human mind wanders somewhere between 10 and 60% of the time.
60%, wow.
Yeah, so a good, consistent signal helps snap that focus back quickly and reliably.
The Classroom Checkup resource had some good tips for signals. Use both sound and sight, make it age appropriate, have students respond somehow, and make it flexible, not tied to one spot in the room.
Those are great points. And you adapt it, right? A quiet word might work for a small group, but for a big assembly, you need maybe a hand signal plus a verbal cue. The key is selecting a signal, teaching it explicitly, and using it consistently all day, every day. It becomes automatic. Like a fire alarm, everyone knows what it means and how to react, freeing up brain space for the actual action.
Okay, number 9. Teacher maintains a consistent demeanor. I love that saying. The teacher should be the thermostat, not the thermometer.
That's a perfect analogy. They set the climate, they don't just react to it. Consistency in how a teacher behaves creates fairness, predictability, trust. That's crucial for positive teacher-student relationships, as Haran and colleagues noted. Marzano also argued it models appropriate behavior and creates that stable learning environment we keep talking about.
Yeah, there's that concept of co-regulation.
Yes. Kripke and others explained this in 2016. Basically, a teacher's emotional state can directly influence the student's emotional states. Humans tend to mirror emotions.
So if the teacher is consistently calm and positive,
The students are more likely to feel that way too. Conversely, if a teacher comes in stressed or agitated, that feeling can ripple through the room.
that's a really important point.
Yeah.
But the research isn't saying teachers have to be, like, always super cheerful or always super serious.
No, exactly. It's not about one specific demeanor being best. It's the consistency that matters. Students learn to anticipate the teacher's responses, which helps them regulate their own feelings and behaviors.
Predictability again.
Exactly. And interestingly, there's also a link between a teacher's emotional stability and reduced teacher burnout. Kim and Roloff found this. So maintaining consistency benefits the teacher's well-being too.
Win-win. So success looks like
Yeah.
the teacher reflecting on their typical demeanor, consciously modeling consistency, and checking in with themselves regularly about it.
Precisely. Self-awareness is key.
Okay, brings us to the final practice, number 10. Teacher responds to misbehavior with consistency and proportionality, fair and effective discipline. This feels critical.
Absolutely critical. Consistency here ensures students understand the consequences, and it prevents any perception of favoritism. Cantor and Cantor highlighted this years ago. And more recently, Huang's research in 2018 found that what's called an authoritative school climate, meaning discipline is strict but perceived as fair, actually results in fewer out-of-school suspensions across all kinds of student groups.
Strict but fair.
Yeah.
That consistency matters. It also seems to push back against those really harsh, get-tough approaches, right?
It does. The Brookings Institute pointed out in 2023 that purely punitive methods often only suppress behavior temporarily and can have negative long-term effects.
So consistency, yes, but also proportionality.
Exactly. Consequences need to match the severity of the misbehavior. Marzano stressed this. That proportionality helps maintain positive relationships because students see the response as logical and fair, not arbitrary. Sprick and Baldwin noted that too. And one more crucial piece, consequences work best when paired with positive reinforcement for the desired behaviors. Sprick and Kriraz found this back in '97. You need both sides of the coin.
Right. Address the misbehavior fairly,
Yeah.
but also recognize and encourage the positive.
Yes. So success involves having documented responses that are proportionate, explicitly teaching students appropriate and inappropriate behaviors, and then applying those consequences consistently across different students, different situations over time.
Wow. Okay. We have covered a lot of ground with these 10 practices, but the overarching theme is so clear, this power of predictable practices.
Uh-huh.
It really comes down to creating an environment that feels consistent, safe, and just runs efficiently.
It absolutely boils down to that central idea. Reduce the mental energy students waste just trying to figure out the environment, that whole reading the room thing. And when you reduce that, you free up their minds, their cognitive resources, to actually do the work of learning, to read, to learn, engage, be curious.
So, for you listening, what does this all mean moving forward? We've unpacked this powerful framework, these 10 concrete strategies, all grounded in research. Whether you're in a classroom, managing a team, or even just thinking about your own routines, these principles offer a really clear path toward creating more effective, less draining environments.
Yeah, the applications are pretty broad.
And here's something to really chew on. If creating this predictable environment frees up students' mental energy, think about what else that unlocks, beyond just better test scores. What new levels of creativity, critical thinking, maybe just genuine curiosity could they reach? How might these practices actually reshape a student's whole relationship with learning itself?